philosophy of the Vino Nobile, it's a concentration of taste. That's also why it's so. In fact, the protocol says that there is a maximum of 8,000 kilograms for hectares, the production. We cannot exceed this production. So if there are too many grapes, with the cuttings, we just leave 2-3 grapes for each plant. More or less, to give an idea, it's 1 bottle of wine for each plant. Also, the wall is made with stones. And if you look to the stones, all shells. Shells, red for the iron, and shells. Up, you look up there, even bigger shells.
How come at the beaches there are no shells here?
80% is Sangiovese. Here you see more or less 6 hectares of vites. These are plants between 10 and 20 years old. Are the plants we're using to produce the Vino Nobile Classic. Yes, there are already blacks, but look here. 1 week ago they were still green. You know, now they are changing color.
And after they all turn black.
Blacks, yes.
you harvest.
From now 1 month, more or less, you calculate. These are changing color in this week practically. If you like to taste some, you can do it. You'll feel still a little sour, but they are just a little sour. In 1 month of sun, they will be very sweet. We still harvest all by hand, and so with the machine we cut at a certain height not to lose the strengthness of the plants, to be concentrated in the grapes.
And do you, some of you, I mean the people do like sometimes review, like looking if everything is all right inside, doing a round or not, or yes, or...
Well, the owners are every day checking and worried, because you have also to detect the eventual illness.
Exactly.
Now it's not, we don't expect rainings, but when the weather is humid, it can develop some illness. This year was raining a lot, so the clusters are too much too big. There is no space for the air going through, and so some muds can develop inside, so you have to follow very closely.
This everything?
Yes, this is our, that one you see there is another property. All this is our, all the vites you see, it's our.
So how many people does it take to gather the grapes?
5 or 6 from, well, 1 month, for all the month, at least 3 weeks.
How many people?
Yes, but for 3 weeks in September, 5 or 6 from us, plus teams coming from abroad. Teams of 10, 12 people.
So how many people total? 100? 100?
No, let's say 5 from us working full time, plus 10, so 15 people
15
for 1
people
month. But for
1 month, gather all these grapes.
yes. If you say the protocol says 8,000 kilograms, if you calculate 6,000 plants, it means 1.5 kilograms, more or less, of grapes for each plant. And 1.5 kilograms, you produce 1 bottle of wine, more or less. I say more or less. The oil with low acidity you should harvest 2-3 weeks before, when the olives are still a little green. And so the only way is to pick up by hand. Double work. It's not a business to produce oil, I can assure.
So that was 6 hectares, and this is 5 hectares.
5 more, and then on the other side of the road, it's a bit far now to go, but 7 more. So 7 plus 6 plus 5, 18. Sangiovese?
Sangiovese.
8
sorry.
of the plants, 80%.
No, but when you blend,
When we blend, it depends. We produce a reserve which is 100% Sangiovese. The Vino Nobile Classic is 85% of Sangiovese.
and the rest is Merlot.
And the rest, it depends. The Vino Nobile Classic are 3 local vites, Colorino, Canaiolo and Mammolo. In a reserve, a special reserve called Sottocasa, the 15% are Cabernet and Merlot. Well, first of all, the selection, which is the most important, the selection. To start with all grapes in perfect condition, dry, with no muds, no early fermentation, no problems. And it's basic to produce good wine without the need to add chemical products like sulfites. Just very little quantity. Sulfites are not changing the taste of the wine, so you can produce more or less a good taste of wine even with the sulfites. And if you harvest maybe by machine or just not to take, not to spend the time to make this selection.
So you select everything by hand?
The harvest is by hand
Well,
with the scissors.
So you say these grapes are
Yes,
good, or
yes.
these grapes are for the...
There is a moving carpet and 3 persons all the day, 12 hours a day, screening the grapes and separating the bad grapes.
And then what happens once you select the grapes?
Well, it's the most important point, because if you start with good grapes, you don't need to add sulfites. And sulfites, you realize the day after normally, it's what makes you the headache. The cheap wines, you have to put a lot of sulfites, because if you harvest what it comes, then otherwise, if you don't put a lot of sulfites, the wine will get crazy. They have a deviation. After a few months, the wine will be brown or spoiled.
Okay. And after you make the selection, what do you do with the grapes?
There is a machine placed there, now it's not there in that place, the machine to separate the stems, the wooden parts. And we don't press the grapes as it used in the very past. And now the modern machines are trying to, of course, to separate the stems, but not breaking, or just little breaking the grapes, the clusters.
And then what happens?
So the clusters, the juice together with the skins are pumped in that area for the first fermentation. The fermentation is a quick process, let's say an average 10 days, so few days, when all the sugar becomes alcohol.
And then you crush the grapes?
Not necessarily, no. When they are mixed, still quite, and not completely entirely, because the machine will have to shake the grapes to separate the wooden parts, so are broken. But in any case, the skins are very important, because the yeast to produce the fermentation are contained in the skins of the grapes. That's why you have to keep, during these 10 days, mixed the skins with the juice. Every day you have to move, to push down the skins to keep this mixture.
And then what happens?
And then the sugar becomes alcohol. So after 10 days, it's wine, young wine, but it's alcoholic. So no more sugar. The skins are separated and sent to a distillery to make grappa. Grappa is the Italian typical spirit. Then you can do with many fruits, but mainly they make a grappa with the used skins of the Sangiovese.
So then then it goes into the barrels.
After, yes, the skins we send. This distillation is a different process, like to make vodka. We don't make here. We just send the skins, and after a few months they give us back our grappa.
So you sell grappa also?
We don't have in this moment, but we normally sell. Yes, we normally have. We are still waiting for the label, so we cannot yet sell.
And what's it called? Vino Nobile Grappa?
Grappa for the grappa from Boscarelli, from this problem, yes. The Merlot, all the wines. Yes, also the Merlot is in steel because it's not worked in wood.
So where do you leave the wine for 2 years?
Then in the winery we age for 2 years. Yeah, now we are going to visit to see the winery. So here the wine will be aged. Big size of barrels for the classic Vino Nobile, which is the main production. The wood is always French oak.
So is this from one just from 2022?
Well, it depends. Each one has a different. This is all 2022, coming from a special hill. Valcelle is a hill.
Do the next harvest. These go into bottles, right? And those, the new wine goes into these casks.
Yes,
right?
Normally yes. It will be in October, next October. This wine will be bottled, and so we will have, and then we have a lot of more barrels to use.
And what goes in here? What goes in here?
In this Vino Nobile or the Reserve, but always Vino Nobile, are aged in big size.
So this is where it stays for 2 years?
Nearly 2 years. The protocol says minimum 15 months, but normally we keep 20 months, more or less. It can be a little different because the wine is different every year, so the expert will decide how long has to remain.
They taste it?
They tasting, they send sample to the laboratories to see how all the ingredients of the wines are. There is always something to do all over the year because the wine is produced in sediments, deposit. Every 4 or 5 months we have to move all the wine to clean, to move out, to wipe out all the sediments and the crystals that the wine is producing in the wood. Okay. And you have to remove. The winemaker enters inside through this door, go inside and with a special brush grasping the wood to keep out this crystal of tartaric acid. So here the storage, normally in a dark way, the wine doesn't like
And how long do they sit in the bottles before you ship them? As soon as you bottle them, do they
No,
ship?
6 months at least, because also the Nobile has to remain 6 months after the bottling. When you bottle the wine, it's a sort of shock to the wine. So the wine needs 4 or 5 months to recover. So normally we, at least minimum 6 months, but can remain also 1 year.
So a year and a half in the casks and a half a year in the bottle?
Yes. As I said, you don't leave the wine sleeping 2 years in bottles. We are, well, one of the 2 brothers managing this property is the expert, but we have also external expert coming every month to taste and to give suggestion what to do. Sometimes you have to move the wine from one bottle from one barrel to another one, because the wine needs to get some air, for instance, or some movement. And these are the experts to say that famous. Yes, we have a famous Mr. Castelli. Now he's very experienced. He's 75 years old. The most important expert in Italy for the vino, for the Sangiovese, not of the Vino Nobile, but they are coming, tasting, and give suggestion. This is simple taste. This wine is remaining in your palate a few seconds. It's indicated with light food. It's a wine for everyday drinking, maybe with salad, pizza, pasta. When it's cold, even with fish instead of the white wines. Because the taste is not so strong. It's not swinging chair. You see outside here, the swinging chair is made with the rings. You see this table is a classic wine of this area. It's a wine remained nearly 2 years in wood. The big barrel, this size of barrels, while the reserve are aged in smaller size. Pinot Nobile, it's a much strong, complex, because here you feel the wood, the taste of the wood, the spicy taste like black pepper. You see some licorice taste, some vanilla perfume, some berry fruits. A lot of taste is coming from the combination of the wine and the wood. This is a wine which remains long time in your palate, the taste. So it's indicated with strong character food. I'm thinking about polenta with boars. In Italy, spezzatino, small pieces of meat with potatoes, tomato, and cooked with oil. The fat food, for me, to appreciate this wine, fat food is ideal, because this wine has a good, Vino Nobile generally, has a good acidity. It's 5.5 of pH. And the acidity of the wine is increasing your salivation. So with the fat food, the fat is sticking to your palate. So this wine is washing, is cleaning, because you feel it's a double sensation. The fat against the acidity of the wine. And so it's, for me, it's the best way to appreciate this.
So this is a good wine to drink with cheese.
Cheese, yes, fat cheeses. Yeah. Cheese, yes. I was thinking to food cooked with oil, but in any case, cheese, yes. Salame. Salame, it's very fat.
This one was not 39 best wine in the world.
Means a wine, it's a nickname. Yeah. It means nothing. Means just a wine which is not following the protocol. Now the last one we are going to taste, it's a Super Tuscany. We made with only 20% of Sangiovese. The true corks are cut in the way of the life of the plant. So they are permitting a little, very little oxygenation of the wine. The corks is always in contact. The bottles is horizontally, so the corks is in contact. And this little oxygenation permits to the wine to progress, to get better. Because the wine is always alive. There are micro-elements, and they are favorite with this little oxygenation. If you use not the true corks, but some corks like composite corks, the corks that you normally see in the white wines, either in the good wines but white, or in the champagne, are composite, like, no, don't worry.
This is a composite cork.
Yes,
this is
a
brand new cork.
Yes.
And this is...
It is the same
but
cork,
it's been in
but
the bottle.
after yes, being in the bottles. GY. This is a reserve of Vino Nobile. Sotto casa. Sotto casa means below the house. Are all the plants around 40 years old below the main house on the top of the hill. The plants of 40 years are like person in the best moment of their life. So they are producing better grapes, and we keep separately, of course, and better wine.
How many times did you make Super Tuscan?
Twice,
Yeah.
yes, 15 and 18. The 15 was fantastic, I can assure. It was my preferred wine, but it was very different.
And the Super Tuscan means just not made to any rules.
Yes, not make the rules of making wines, yes, but not following the protocol. Not the rules of protocols.
What's your name?
Ah, sorry, Giorgio.
George.
Giorgio.
Grazie.
Giorgio.
Grazie. Grazie. And you
Prego.
too? Ramon. Ramon?
Lucia.
Thank you a lot. And I guess they're cleaning that one.